know about y'all, but I had a bad fantasy. I want to say night, but it's not. It's daytime. It's freaking 6 o'clock. It's 85 degrees. It's sunny outside, and I'm in here doing this with y'all. It is what it is, though, right? It is what it is. Hi, what's up, guys? Good to see ya. Hope your race was better than mine, because my fantasy results were not where I wanted them to be. But Brandon, JP, B Hood, Hani, Vic, what's up, man? Good to see you guys. Yeah, Jason, 85. I know, right? And I did get out. I had about an hour between qualifying and night show, day show, whatever. But I was in the garage working, so it wasn't really like leisure, but we did it. Please tell me you didn't have Brayton. I did not have Brayton. No. Vic, I had Alves, which he was on my team. He was on my team since literally Daytona. Like, the second that his bike broke in half at Daytona, he was on my team. Had him. And then with 5 minutes in the race, I had Bogle, Cade, and Starling running 10, 11, 12. And I was like, yo, money. I had Tomac, he was in second. And I was like, good deal. Good deal. I'm running 23 and then 10, 11, 12 with handicaps. And then Bogle did what Bogle does. Starling just straight through the anchor. Cade also kind of through the anchor. And the thing is that they're better than those guys. Like, no offense to the guys they beat, but let's look at them. You know, Starling and Cade, and obviously Cade ended up 13th, but like, they're better than Freddie. They're better than Brees. I think they're better than Bloss. Like, I don't know. I just don't know what happened. I just don't know. So yeah, was a big suck. Vic, it's funny. I had Amar last week in 9th on the Rocky Mountain Fantasy, which I barely play at all. I just randomly pick 5 people and then I actually try on the wild card. That's where I feel like I can actually do something. And I had him 9th last week and I was wrong. But yo, Brandon 298, that's nice. Anthony 264, love to see it. These day races are sweet. I hate them. T. I really do. I didn't like Starling at that 5 though. Vic, the only reason I did is because at St. Louis he went 11, 12, 11, I think it was, or something like that. He went like 10, 11, 13, and 14, not in that order, in the last 4 before Daytona. And I know he's a Supercross guy. I was just trying to get him on the bounce back because his handicap went up, and I was wrong. But is what it is. Vic, the thing with me with Bloss is, how has he not grenaded himself yet this season? How has he not grenaded himself? I swerved Yoder. I stand behind my decision to swerve Yoder. This was my team, in case you care. And not that I didn't think he was going to make it. I just wasn't confident that he was going to make it. And that's a distinction that I personally have to make, is I have to be confident they're going to make it. And I just wasn't, unfortunately. And yeah, I paid for it. So is what it is. Is what it is. Welton, I liked my Welton pick, stuck by it. I took Fry instead of the Yoder. And I'm still not mad about it. Like, I lost like 15, 16 points, but I'll take it. I'm cool with it. But are we updated yet? Oh my god, dude, I lost 400 spots. 178 out of the top 10,000. And I lost 400 spots. I hate it. You hate to see it. You get to go to Denver. Oh man, that's nice. I'm actually planning on going to Denver. It looks like I might be going to Denver. I haven't booked anything yet. I was waiting to hear back from the Supercross guys about my press credentials before I booked flights and stuff. And of course, now that I finally got them today, or I got the okay today, and yeah, the flights are all like $150 more expensive, and I'm like, great, love it, love to see it, not excited. Kurt, I saw you had a really good 250 round. I saw on Twitter. That's exciting, dude. I'm stoked for you. Lost 1,000. Michael, it's so hard, man. And when you get this late in the season, it only gets harder. You know what I mean? It only gets harder. 519th overall. Nice, dude. Nice. But yeah, it is what it is. I'll take it. My biggest thing was I was 23 points down from Steve in the admin league, and I lost another 27. I'm now 50 points down on Steve, and then I'm even worse on Marks. Now I'm God, what, 64 points down on marks, and I only have 2 rounds to go. You hate to see it. It doesn't, you know what? It doesn't matter because apparently, according to JT, I don't count. So who cares, right? None of this matters. None of this matters because who cares? What do we want to talk about? The broadcast. How many of you guys were watching on cable versus Peacock? We didn't have audio. We did have like bike sounds, but we did not have broadcast audio for the entire 250 main. Was that who else? Everybody have that experience? I saw one person. It was only one person. But I saw one person say their NBC was fine. But no offense, I don't trust one person. But on Peacock, I had nothing. And that's okay. The problem for me is that a lot of people have said, like, oh, I really like not hearing the announcers. If the bike sounds were better, I would have been into it, but it honestly didn't sound like they were using the directional mics like they normally do. It just sounded like you're near the track. You know what I mean? Like it just sounded like there were dirt bikes in the distance. I was disappointed. So I accessed a buddy's YouTube TV and NBC worked. Okay, Callie. Okay. So it did work for somebody then. So that's 2 people at least. Was way buried in the mix on DirecTV. That's so weird. But yeah, like I don't particularly enjoy Lee and Ricky and the team. Like I take it or leave it. It's not a bad thing. I don't really enjoy it. But with that being said, the audio at the track wasn't great. At least in that stadium, the bike sounds didn't sound great. It didn't sound dynamic. It just wasn't good quality. So I wasn't excited. So I would have liked to hear, yeah, honey, for sure. Like at least the one time when the one time when we're like, look, you're allowed to talk about Jet now. Now is your time. go hard. Talk about Jet all you want. And they were like, absolutely not. No, we were not gonna do it today. So is what it is. The announcers aren't that bad. They're not, Rich. They're not. It's not. It just, and this probably goes for every sport. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not a big like NASCAR. I'm still kind of newer to F1. I'm newer to IndyCar. So I don't know what it's like to be a diehard person that grew up living and breathing these other type of motorsports to watch the main broadcast where they're explaining kind of simple things. And you're just like, oh my God, I can't believe, like, come on, we know this. Stop treating us like we're stupid, blah, 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 blah. Like, it is what it is. We have audio issues during championship night or during A1. Honestly, Vic, during championship night, I think. For A1, I need all the hype in the world. I need all the hype. A1 is the Super Bowl. You know what is weird is that we do that. And don't get me wrong. NASCAR does this too with Daytona. Having our Super Bowl at the start of the season is so anticlimactic. Like you will never be more excited for motocross than you are at A1 ever. Like that is our like Supercross, motocross, whatever. Like A1 is it. And then like by the time round 16 comes on, I feel like we're all limping along. We're doing our best to try to stay interested kind of thing. Because we're really, really kind of losing the push of the same thing. And let's be honest, most titles in most years they're not clinched early, but they're wrapped up early. Like, we knew with 3 or 4 rounds to go last year that Cooper was going to win it. This year, we have known the 3 titles by what? Daytona? I think by Daytona, we all knew. I mean, honestly, when Faulkner went down, no offense to Cameron. When Faulkner went down, I think we all knew, all right, well, it's Craig, Tomac, and Jet. So it is what it is. It's just, it definitely gets harder, and you can feel the vibe. I know JT and Steve's vibe conversation is about in the arena, but I just mean like on Twitter, in these streams, just my general experience with fans and stuff, and even me watching on the couch, I'm like, I'm just not excited. I'm not excited like I was weeks 1 through 5 or 6. You know what I mean? I just am, and these day races, man, I know some of you guys, especially East Coast, Europe, whatever, like them because, oh, it's over early and you don't have to stay up so late. But it just messes up my day because there's no building anticipation where, when it's a night show, and don't get me wrong, I don't like when it's in California and it starts at 10 p.m. for me on the East Coast, but at least then I have all day to think about it and to bench race and to talk on Twitter about it and to like just get the experience. But now I wake up and qualifying is just about to start. And now that I work in the industry, the second that I wake up, I get a snack, go to the bathroom, I sit down, qualifying's on, and I'm already crunching numbers. So I didn't even really get to enjoy the atmosphere. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Final nod in Vegas. Yeah, Kurt. Yeah, for sure. No offense to Salt Lake City. I've never been there. I've heard good things. But yeah, bring it back. Bring back. Points just updated. Mine look the same. Vic, what is yours doing? I did see somebody bring up Forkner, and I might make a video on it. I'll have to watch it back to verify, but I agree, and Kellen Brower from RacerX agreed, if you guys follow him on Twitter, that Forkner got pushed off the track, went around the tough block, kept pace with Jet, and passed him back in the next corner. And if you guys look on here, it has official results. So they have, if there's ever a thing they're looking at penalty-wise, the official results part will be missing. It will be gone. It will not show up until they have confirmed what they're doing. So the fact that official results is here means that they're not going to do anything with Forkner. And I just want to say that I will have to go back and look at it in slow-mo and stuff like this. But it's interesting to me that they docked Anderson at Daytona when Malcolm shoved him wide. Because and it's not just that I think Forkner's guilty, because I don't really know. I need to watch it again, but I need to see. I need the AMA to come out and tell us. I need them to say out loud, here's the difference between what Anderson did, and here's the difference between what Forkner did. I need them to explain it to me, because it's so incredibly hard for us fans to watch at home and literally be like, why didn't he get a penalty there? Why didn't this happen? Why didn't that happen? It just doesn't make any sense at all. So I'll watch it back, and if I think that it's worth it, I'll make a video out of it. Unfortunately, I won't get anything out of them. I reached out to, you guys probably saw the video I made about the jump, about the triple at Atlanta. I reached out to Dirtworks, and I reached out to Supercross. I did get a statement from Dirtworks. I talked to somebody at Supercross, and more or less they were like, well, you have to go through the person that does media. Like, they wanted me to set up a whole thing to get an official statement, and I was like, I'm not going to do that. So I'm not going to get an official statement out of anybody, unfortunately, because, and rightfully so, I get it. The sport wants to protect themselves and have things go through the way they do. But yeah, so I'm not going to get anything from them, so unfortunately. So Mark sent me some stats. Let's talk about them. How many people do you think correctly guessed the 250 FFL? Trick question. It was literally zero. Literally zero. I wonder when the last time we had a literal zero for the FFL. It was Colin Park, for you guys that don't know. Honestly, Vic, I'm kind of surprised it's zero, because there's always somebody that purposely throws to try to get the lowest score possible, and I'm kind of surprised nobody had Park just on accident. Because they were like, oh, well, he'll never get one, and picking him anyway. 2,493 people picked it, and zero got it correct. 450, 2,132 people picked it. 73 of them correctly guessed Cooper. 7,445 championship league teams. So I only beat 1,000 people in the champ league. Median score 221. The perfect score was 304. I believe the highest score was 300 flat. So yeah, so Jesse, Cod, and Natty all were only 4 points off a perfect score. 63% of teams had 8 riders, so that was a pretty high one. Pretty high this time. But yeah, just a rough one. Rough one for me. Sucks to suck. Yeah, Colin did ride really good. Where did he end up? Let's go look at it really quick. Colin ended up 9th, man. How cool is that? Good for him, He's definitely shown some flashes of brilliance here. He just needs to clean it up a little bit, because that's 2 times now, right, that he has been either at or around top 10 talent. Yeah, he was 10th at Indy and 9th in Foxborough. The problem is we just need to clean up these 15, 18, 19, 18s, you know? We'll get there. And also maybe don't miss St. Louis. Don't miss Triple Crowns. When strictly going off qualify time does you good. Yeah. Well, and Vic, that's the thing, is that Bogle didn't qualify well. And I try to do this, and you let me know if you guys do this or if it's just me. I like to stick to my pre-qualifying team unless I'm literally given a reason to, because it's better for my mental health, because I'm not tinkering and swapping guys in and out all the way up to the line. I look at my 8, which was these guys. Like, I look at my 8, and the only person that I changed was Fry. I had Chiz, and I changed Chiz for Fry, which ended up being a wash. But unless I literally see a reason that I'm like, oh man, he really scared me in qualifying, or wow, I really underestimated how this guy was going to ride, or whatever, I leave it alone. So with that being said, I liked Fry more than Yoder, so I put in Fry over Chiz. But I didn't like Yoder more than Alves and Welton, because I legitimately thought Welton and Alves could score over 40. And Welton did, and Alves was looking like he was going to before whatever happened. So that's on me. It is what it is. And same here. I had Cade, Starling, and Bogle on Thursday. And when I was looking at the qualifying times, nothing jumped out at me of like, oh man, I need to swap so-and-so. I was like, no, I feel good about my 4 picks. I'm not gonna get crazy. And as you guys can see, like, that usually works for me. I finished in the top 152 years in a row. So, you know, just keep doing what brought you here, I think is good advice in this. I stick my Wednesday team about 5 out of 8. You mean like 5 out of your 8 riders you keep, or like 5 out of 8 weekends? I never pick all-stars on championship day. For the most part, they take it easy, just the stats. Vic, my thing is I didn't want zeros. And I couldn't have Oldenburg because I had him last week. So for me, I was like, I don't want RJ and Pierce because they hit the ground always. And I didn't feel comfortable enough with Owen or Lopes. And so it pretty much just left me with Jet. And I was like, it's fine. And honestly, I think Eli would have been fine if he didn't stall the bike. Because Eli was racing for that win until the stall. And then he went backwards because he probably was like, F it, it doesn't matter. Like, he wanted to clinch tonight, but as soon as tonight's clinch was out of reach, he just said whatever. So, it is what it is. Luckily, this is why I don't play a lot of gambling. I don't play in a lot of like money leagues. I don't do all of that stuff that I know some of you guys do, because this is better for my mental health to not take it too seriously. I'm in the Industry Idiots League, but that's just because 2 years ago somebody bought my way in, and I've made enough money through the Industry Idiots to pay my entry fee every year. So, is what it is. What was your thought process on Bogle? Vic, honestly, just bounce back. He's a solid guy. The field is thin. I didn't see him getting worse than 13th. He's clearly better than that, you know, Hartraff, Starling, Cade, like, bubble. So I was like, he gets 13th all day. Like, even if it's not his track, he's going to get a good start. He'll be out front, and he'll stay up and whatever. So I don't overthink it. I think that's the biggest thing. For a guy that puts out a lot of numbers about fantasy, I don't overthink it. But let's go ahead really quick before I get sidetracked and lose it. We're going to do a jersey giveaway. I have two race used autographed Robbie Wageman jerseys going out. I already have the 2 things filled, so I have 2 number pickers here to go. So if this is your first time watching or you don't know how it works, Patreon is how I do it. So I will, if you're subscribed to Patreon, if you're tier 1, it's an entry every month. If you're tier 2, you get 2 entries. If you're tier 3, you get 3. So every month I have something to give away. And this month I actually have 2 things, because Team Solitaire was cool enough to send me 2 Robbie Wageman jerseys. I asked for a front number plate, and they sent me 2 jerseys. How cool is that? So, the first one is everybody is eligible. The second one, it was only for people that subscribe to the higher tier. I wanted to give them their own shot for being like extra supportive, so that they would get one all to themselves. So we're going to do this really quick. The first one is this one, and it has all of the names. So these are all of the Patreons. So if you subscribed to RotoMoto on Patreon, your name was in here. If you subscribed in March, your name was in here. So what is it? Pick one, and am I gonna have to do it again? It might have timed out. There we go. And then it'll go through here, and then whatever name is left is whatever's name is left. The Tomac title after party next week is going to be insane at this home race. Yeah. So Jason, so if I go to Denver here, who's going to Denver? I know somebody in here said they're going to Denver. It looks like I'm gonna fly in Friday morning, do press day, do the Pulp Privateer LCQ race, go to bed, wake up really early, do race day, and then I'm gonna fly home at midnight on Saturday. So I'm literally gonna be in Denver for like 36 hours. So yeah, if Tomac does win and they're partying in the pits or whatever, I feel like that'll be a cool place to be. Same with Craig, if Craig wraps it up. Oh man, we're getting down there. We're getting down there. Oh, Mike went out. We've got what? Austin, Fred, Joshua, Dane, Lewis, Kyle, Jerry, and Dennis is what's left. Down to five names. 4 left. Will there be a live? Mikkel, it depends. I would like to, but the problem is when I've now tried to do the after show 3 times from the pits. One time I did it on Instagram. Oh, hold on, we're almost down. Oh man, come on, Tilly. Tilly's been a long time supporter. No offense, Jerry, but I'm rooting against you. Ah, of course. So Jerry, if your name is Jerry, you're in here. You're a Patreon supporter. You win. You win. So I will. I'm gonna screenshot this really quick and send it to myself so that I know for later. I will be in touch with you to get you your jersey, and then we'll go do the other one. And this one was for only the people that were tier 2 or higher. So a little bit smaller of a list. But anyway, so what I'm going to do is in Denver, I'm going to go live. I did it in Detroit on Instagram. It worked. It wasn't great, but it worked. I did it at Indy in the pits, but the pits were outdoors on YouTube, and it did not work at all. I could not get enough service to do it. But then at St. Louis, it was an indoor pit, and it did work. So as long as I can, I will do it, but unfortunately, I just cannot promise you that it's definitely going to happen. But I will attempt it, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So definitely tune in. Obviously, I'll have it up on Twitter and everything next week. I might even do a test run earlier in the day. Maybe I can do just like a really quick going live pre-show and just kind of get a feel if it's going to work or not. But I'm obviously not going to bug any riders while they're getting ready for the race. So, oh man, Foster. I was like, Foster's going to have 2 entries going here into the final. So we got Foster, Kevin, Scott, Phil, and Alex. The final 6, final 5. Oh, final 4. You're going to see the Steve Mathis Memorial LCQ World Championship. Yeah, World Championship. I don't know how serious he was, Vic, but I asked him, I just told Steve today, I said, hey, let me know if you need any help while we're doing it, while we're there. And he said, oh, I'll put you to work. You can be the finish line flagger. So I swear, I told him, I was like, do not joke around with me. Can I actually please be the finish line flagger? Like, that would be sick. That would be so cool. I remember flagging flat track when I was a kid. So like, it's been a while, but I got the infinity wrist. JT didn't think non-industry folks couldn't. Yeah, you probably won't be able to watch it as a fan because it would just be there's not going to be stadium staff there. So yeah, it's definitely going to be an industry only thing, which obviously sucks for everybody else. I will talk to Steve and I will update it with you guys because whatever it is, if I will make sure that somehow you guys get video footage. If they don't already have something figured out, I will figure out a way to make video possible. So we'll get it for you guys, I promise. Man, Kevin and Phil on a stare down. So the way this program works is it just picks a random number every time, and if it's already been picked, it just picks again. So we're just going to be stuck here on Kevin and Phil until one of their numbers gets called, which honestly makes it really, really, the anticipation is very high. Pookie is the 32nd girl. Yeah, and I don't remember what Heather's doing, but Heather's doing something too. Oh, all right, Phil. Old Phil. Phil Zub. Phil Zub is gonna take the other jersey. So if you guys, if either of you are in here, hit me up, or I will hit you up. But you can also feel free to reach out to me, and I will get these shipped out to you. And if you want to get in on, this month, I've got a Cade Clayson side plate. This was his 10th place career best finish from Detroit. Still got a little bit of Detroit, a little bit of 8 Mile right here into the grip tape. So if you're a Cade Clayson fan and you want to see this on your wall, this is the one for April. So you guys have until next week. So until next Saturday to sign up for this one, and then I will give this one away at the finale. The post-race finale for the SLC. So that'll be there. And then I already have something for May. I have something already that I can give away in May, but I have something in mind that I would like to give away in May. So if I get a chance to do what I want to do, I will let you guys know, but I have something else I would like to give away if I'm able to, but we'll get there. We'll get there when it's time. We'll do the giveaway when it's time. But yeah, man. I don't know. It was kind of an uneventful night, you know what I mean? Good for Jason Anderson. He won his 5th. Panic button for Cooper Webb. This is an odd question I was going to ask for Twitter, but I don't want to get flamed for it, but I feel like you guys would maybe do it better. Somebody responded to me and said at the beginning of the year, they called it that Cooper Webb would never win again. And I said, really? Never win a race? And they said, no, I meant they'll never win a title again. And honestly, it made me think about it. And I was like, you know what? That's fair. That's valid. Because right now, because Cooper's 26, I believe, right? I don't see him if Anderson and Eli can race two-ish more years near where they are. I don't see him competing with this Eli and Anderson we have this year. And Sexton is on the cusp of being something great. And if AC can stay healthy, and I know we're going to say that forever, but like if AC can stay healthy, and obviously we're about to have a whole new crop of guys moving up, like I kind of was like, when they said that, originally I said no. But then after I thought about it, I was like, man, I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Maybe he won't ever win another title. It's just wild to go that far, to whiplash that far from at the beginning of the year. Somebody asked me, who do you think wins the title? And I was like, honestly, I can't root against the defending champion because he has all of the things that you want. Like, he has the answer right now, but he didn't, and he hasn't, Coop has never defended his titles. Jason, that's fair. You're not wrong. He just doesn't look good. And honey, the weirdest thing is that Muskin looks arguably better. And I know that not everybody gels with every bike equally. So it's not like I'm saying because Marvin did good and Cooper didn't, that it's Cooper's fault. Maybe Marvin fits him better. I don't know, man. I don't know. You know what'll be an interesting tale, and I know that Supercross and Outdoor are different, but if Cairoli is coming over, I'm sure you guys saw that. He's apparently only going to do the first 2 rounds, but who knows? Maybe he'll enjoy it and stay longer. But if Cairoli comes over, and if Hurlings does come over, and again, Outdoor is a different animal, but if they come over and they do fine, and Cooper continues to struggle, is that a panic button time? And if so, where do you see Cooper Webb going other than Red Bull KTM? because he just doesn't seem to gel. Like his style, the way he carries himself and things like that, he feels like he was made to be a Red Bull rider. Does that make sense? Like Dungey, Mooskin, like they all feel kind of like cookie cutter, don't say a lot, not a lot of outward personality, blah, blah, blah. I don't see him going to Monster Kawasaki. I don't see him going to Honda. Honda doesn't have any room for him because they're not going to pick him over Lawrence, or Chase. You know, I don't see him going to Rockstar because they seem to, I mean, I don't know, I guess maybe they would rather have Webb than Craig, but it just doesn't seem like the fit. Gas is definitely not his vibe. Like, where would he go? You know what I mean? It must be frustrating for Webb to watch Barcia come past. Yeah, honey, it really does, though. You know, he just watches it go by. Like, honey, I feel like Webb right now has to feel like McGrath in 97. You know what I mean? Christian will likely hit the fort. Kurt, I agree. I feel like Christian will come out. My biggest problem is what's Christian's ceiling? You know? I just don't know if I see Christian being better than it. I don't see Christian beating the top 5 right now. So if we look at, and I'm not even saying like the all-time healthy top 5, I don't see Christian running with these 5 guys. Well, take Marvin out and put Eli up there, but you know what I mean. Like Anderson, Sexton, Tomac, Malcolm, and Barcia. I don't see him breaking that. And if Ken comes back next year and he's healthy, I don't see him beating Ken. I don't know if I see him beating Cooper. So for me, like, I just don't know if I see Christian coming out and being anything better than a 7th or 8th place guy. And that's fine, by the way. Just like I've seen a lot of people be really critical of Dean needing to hang it up. And I'm like, look, there are 12 factory rides available. Somebody's going to finish outside of the top 10. Like, there are 3 factory guys that have to finish outside of the top 10. At least when everybody's healthy. So, I don't know. I just definitely see him on the back end, you know? 5 to 9. LS, I agree. Like, I could, because he does get good starts, so I could see him being a you know how people say, like, a poor man's so-and-so? I could see Craig being a rich man's Vince Freezy. He's gonna get a good start, and he's gonna make himself hard to pass. But with that being said, Craig also has some pretty spectacular crashes, and he's not gonna be immune to those just because he's on the Rockstar bike, you know. Hurlings will race. I agree. I can see Webb moving to Star, Roxon moving to KTM, but the amount of 250 riders that want the 450 ride too on Star. MX. Well, and the thing too is, I don't think Roxon changes teams this year unless he really, really wants to, because I bet Honda would love to have, how many more years does Roxon race anyway? You know what I mean? I feel like this will be his last year coming up. Like, if he doesn't retire this year, I think he rides one more year. And I think Honda makes him a very competitive offer because of how valuable he is as an ambassador to the sport, that Roxon will stay one more year because Jet will have to move up for 2024. So if you can have Sexton and Roxon for 2023 and then Sexton and Jet for 2024, that's got to be the blueprint, right? And would anybody else accept 1 year at Honda? And maybe just a Supercross, because I could see Jet moving up for Outdoors 2023 and have Roxon do Supercross only. I really think that I think that's got to be the play. I wish we could have, you know, that Always Sunny picture of the guy with like the maps and all of the strings pinned all over the wall. Like, that literally feels like that's what silly season's going to be this year, especially with Roxon, you know. It will be interesting to see how Hurlings and Cairoli do with quote unquote OEM bikes, because as if you guys don't know, MXGP, they have way more lax rules of what they can do to those bikes. So the Red Bull KTM that Cooper is riding right now versus the Red Bull KTM that Hurlings is riding they might as well not even be born on the same planet. They are vastly different bikes. So it will be interesting to see how well those two legends do on, I'm not going to call it stock bikes because they're not stock, but, you know, a very limited build. Did Hampshire resign? That's a good question. God, can we talk about RJ Hampshire? Is there anybody else in the history of the sport that that you know is going to crash like RJ does. Like, I just know he's going to crash every race. You just know he is. And the one he did on Pierce Brown today, that was just a dumb move. I don't even know what he was doing. The camera angle didn't show it very good. But he just literally went into Pierce's line, and maybe he lost a little bit of traction or whatever it might be, but that was just a bonehead move in that spot. I just didn't understand it. I'd take top 10 for first full year on the bike. Kurt, do you mean Craig? No long swing arms, different frames. Yeah, production, right. Jordan Smith. Okay, Kaylin, you got me. Jordan Smith, yeah. How about Hand is Hurt? Landon, I haven't seen anything on Hand yet. No. I'll let you know if I find out anything, though. I think this new Tomac beats... No, I agree, Jason. I agree. And again, with Tony and Hurlings, the thing is that no offense to Cairoli, but he's not over here racing for anything. He wants to beat these guys. He wants to check this off his bucket list, but there's no way he's going to put himself in a bad position because he's not racing for a championship. And I understand and I respect that. No shame at all. I just don't see him competing for wins because he's not going to... He has nothing to gain. Hurlings, on the other hand, does. If Hurlings does come and ride and he wants to race the entire series, I do see Hurlings giving it his all, and I think it will be an interesting matchup. But right now, as it stands, man, I don't know. This is a really gnarly Tomac we're seeing right now. Very gnarly. We'll be 8-12, kind of like when Russell came over. No, Vic, I agree. Like, I think he could have the speed, but he has nothing to race for. And that's the kind of guy I don't pick in fantasy, so I probably won't pick Cairoli in the first 2 rounds, unless his handicap is, like, way too good. RJ was the fastest man last year. Kept making mistakes. At one point, I thought he could win the title. No, Goosey, and I agree. It's just really unfortunate that he literally just can't. It's hard to believe. Is this his 6th or 7th year, Hampshire? I want to say 2016 was his rookie year, or was it 2017? I just can't believe that it's not his fault, but, you know, when you get to the point he's at, you have to clean it up, and that's what makes good 450 riders. And, you know, if you would have asked me 3 years ago if Brandon Hartraft was better than RJ Hampshire, I would have said absolutely not. But, like, as it stands now... You know, like, look at Hartraft. Hartraft knows his limitations, and he knows, like, raw speed, Hartraft cannot compete with the top 10 guys. At least not on his bike. No offense to the HEP Suzuki, but Hartraft knows that these guys are out of reach to him. So he just goes out there, and he rides within his ability. When I was at St. Louis, we were watching Adam Enticknap race the LCQ at the Triple Crown. And I noticed that the thing that was weird was Enticknap was hitting all of the big rhythms like the factory guys were hitting. But where he was like, and especially when you're watching him in the LCQ with a bunch of guys that are more privateer based, they weren't hitting those things. So you're literally watching Enticknap leap past these guys. But he knows what his limits are and he rides within his limits. And sure, does that mean that Enticknap is never going to be a top 15 guy and he's going to be fighting just to make the main? Sure. But he has the ability to hit the rhythms, but he also knows where his limit is and he dials it back just a few percentage points. And I think that's RJ's problem, is RJ doesn't know where to dial it back. And you've looked at what Sexton was able to do in the 250 class, and even, you know, he hasn't been as lucky in the 450, but he's still young. He knew early on in his career where his 100% was and to ride at 95. And if you look at Joe Shimoda this year, I thought Joe in his first 2 years was very good at riding within his limits, but I think Joe now, either he wants the title or he feels the pressure maybe from like Mitch to deliver, but Joe is now riding too close to his limit, and that's why he's making those mistakes he's never made before. Because the difference, like that extra half a second a lap that it takes from being a top 5 guy to being like a race winner, that extra half a second is causing people to wreck. That's the difference, you know? Oh man, Hardy Munoz. Hardy Party. Oh. I think RJ and McAdoo have more willpower than talent still. Great, but wild. Yeah, and I think McAdoo, is a little better than RJ in that regard. He does he has put the whacker's life behind him a little bit, you know? RDL said Cooper and Nichols have to go 450. So Jason, I do know that they're apparently trying to amend the rule book to instead say that you can only defend the year after your title, to instead say after you win a title, you have 1 year to defend, to try to get Cooper his chance to defend the title, because he technically never lined up. But Nichols will not have that luxury, because unless they amend it way beyond where people think they're going to, Nichols will have to move up, because he did enter a race as the defending champion, or like in his second year or whatever. It's ironic that they didn't let them defend their number ones, and then neither of them got to run them anyway. It's ironic. It's poetic, if nothing else. But anyway, with that being said, there's just nowhere for them to go. You know what I mean? And I just hope that those guys are content taking a lesser ride, because if Forkner wants to move up, and Mitch seemed like, the way Mitch talked, Mitch made it seem like Forkner is more than likely not going to stay on the team. Did you guys catch that? Was it, I don't remember if it was during Race Day Live or if it was early in the broadcast, but the way Mitch was talking, he made it sound like, even when whoever was interviewing, I think it was Kristen Beat, said, like, do you want Forkner to race for Pro Circuit next year? And Mitch didn't say yeah. Mitch said, I want him to have a title. So it seems like he might be moving up. But anyway, if Forkner wants to move up, J Mart wants to move up, Nichols wants to move up, Cooper wants to move up, one of those guys, at least one of those guys, if not all of them, are going to have to go to HEP Suzuki, Moto Concepts Honda, whatever the hell Rocky Mountain becomes, if anything, like if the Butler brothers can figure something out, if anybody would even ride for them. The Rocky Mountain, if nothing else, Rocky Mountain wants to stay in the sport as a sponsor. So Rocky Mountain, the sponsor, could be what sets up, your SGB Honda to take that next step, or something along those lines. But I don't know if any of them get a factory ride, if I'm being really honest. I just don't know. Who of the factory guys right now would you drop to pick up Nichols or Cooper, who are both very good, very accomplished riders, but I don't think anybody thinks they're going to be the next big thing. You know what I mean? Nobody thinks that those are going to be the guys that are going to light the world on fire, like Jet could, or like Cooper Webb was expected to, or Sexton or AC. I just don't think they would, Add one to Gas Motion. It would be interesting. I think it's weird that we had 3 KTMs and 1 Gas. I would almost rather them just go 2-2 to do it. Well, the thing, Jason, is Dino's already out for Craig. That's the problem. Is that hole has already been filled. Because no offense to Dean, I like Dean. He's a great guy. He's a great rider, a good ambassador for the sport. But Craig, he was clearly the 12th guy of the factory rankings. No, but we're going 450s, Landon. That's the problem. Volan's not a 450 guy, because these are guys that have to move up. Who are you moving up? Is Dino done? He said on the Pulp Show that he wants to do 1 more year. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. We won't know, but he said he wants to do 1 more year. Yo, Ben, what's up? It's good to see you, dude. But yeah, after Dean's injury, he might not want to do 1 more year. I could definitely see him doing a Supercross only deal. I mean, with Brayton going out, I could see Moto Concepts snagging Dean and having him race Supercross only, and then he could race the World Supercross with another team if he so chose. No offense to Benny Bloss, but Team Tedder has a really good bike. They essentially have a Rocky Mountain KTM quality program. Bloss gone, you could slot one of those guys in there. Honestly, I could have seen like Christian Craig maybe to go there. You know what I mean? What about Zacho's spot? The Zacho's spot was never an option, Michael. I mean, they dropped it. Like, he was going to race and they just dropped him. So I don't know. I think, and no offense to these other guys, but I think keeping a third rider that year being a champion and a guy that's been with Husqvarna for a very long time was a reason they could add a third bike. And no, and again, I like you guys, maybe you guys get it, maybe you guys don't. Some of you, I don't mean you guys, but like some of you will understand what I mean, some of you won't. But in the year of our Lord 2022, it is no longer enough to just be fast on a dirt bike. You need to be selling things. You need to be an ambassador for the sport, for your sponsors, whatever. And that's why guys like Roxon, Dino, whatever, they're always going to have a spot if they want it to some degree, because those guys put butts in seats. You know what I mean? Like, those guys make people care about them. And when I look at Forkner, J Mart, Nichols, and Cooper, when was it like, can you remember any social media post that they've ever made like that's a memorable one? Has Justin Cooper even posted anything on social media since his injury? He's posted his own merch, and he posts injury updates and his girlfriend. And it's like, what are you doing the other time? I know we're all tired of them throwing Jet down our throats. I know that, and I get it. But man, if any of these other guys had any level of charisma, we wouldn't have to have so much Jet and Hunter. They're literally a gift to the sport because we don't have other people like them. I love Eli Tomac, but why isn't he getting the coverage? Somebody said, like, they're giving Jet more coverage than Eli. And I'm like, Eli never has anything to say. He's a very nice guy. I was able to meet him and talk to him at St. Louis. But when I asked him questions. So I'm putting together this video series. I'm waiting to put it out because I'm waiting kind of till we have off season when I need topics to talk about. But I'm putting together this video series where I'm asking riders interesting questions about themselves and their program and how they feel, and I'm asking riders about other riders and things. And the amount of riders that I asked them a question where, you know, they could go long-winded and tell you everything you could want to hear, and they answer in 5 words. And I'm like, okay. I will say Anderson did well. Anderson gave me the results I wanted, but also, in no offense, I talked to Max Voland and I talked to Jet Lawrence back to back because they were next to each other on press day. I can tell you right now that I asked Max Voland, I think 8 questions, and it took him 1 minute and 45 seconds to answer 8 questions. And that includes me asking the question. To counter that, Jet talked for 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Jason Anderson talked for 4.5. And I asked these guys the same questions. And yeah, like, I mean no ill will towards it, but they're just, it's not enough to be a fast guy anymore. You need to be a personality. And Nichols, J Mart, J Mart's older. He might be a little bit past that thing. Like, look at Craig. Craig's older, but Craig gets it. Craig knows how to engage a fan base. So I don't know. So I don't know where they're gonna go. But if I'm on a factory team and I was signing one of those guys, none of them interest me more than the factory guys that are already existing. Does that make sense? These riders aren't professionals at public speaking. But Vic, listen, the sponsors want to be... When was the last time you guys bought anything that's on the side of a bike? Like, tell me the last time. Everybody was mad that Geico pulled their money. How many of you guys have Geico as your insurance? How many of you guys care about any of the How many of you guys actually looked up froth that's on the hat of Jordan Smith and them? Like, when was the last time you looked at any of those? You didn't, because you don't care. But I know who artificial grass liquidators are, because Dean Wilson set up a freaking 10x10 piece of artificial turf in his pit box for no reason. But I did it because I know that because Dean made a point to be silly and go out and do it. Yes, Kalen, I bought Twisted Tea because HEP Suzuki has 3 guys that are cool. You know what I mean? What about Triumph and Beta? Jason, I wish I knew more about what their programs are going to be coming in, because I could definitely see those being the kind of landing spots for those guys. But until we know what their budgets are and what their expectations are, and no offense, but do you want to ride for brand new teams? If you are a 250 champion moving up, do you want to take that risk? I mean, that almost feels like when McGrath went to KTM. You know what I mean? Like, do you want to do that? Like, do you want to do that? No paid. Well, no, but that's fair. That's fair, Michael. But either way, they as a program know how to do it. You know what I mean? And these guys could hire somebody else to do it. Other people do, like AC, dude. Even Kevin Moran's, and Amart, they don't film and edit their own stuff. They literally pay somebody to make this video content for them. Look at AJ Catanzaro. Like, the guy doesn't even make mains, and people know who he is. So that's where we got to go. That's where we got to go. So if these guys want to do it, you know, you look at guys that maybe shouldn't have their rides. Like, you could argue Bogle should retire. People say that. Or Seven Deuce Deuce should go. Dino's washed up. Kenny is overrated. But hey, those guys bring money to teams. Look at F1 and how there are really bad drivers that literally fund teams. Nikita Mazepin comes to mind. It's a business. Racing's a business. Our era of racing being only a sport is long since past. It is a business. You know what I mean? What happened is Spy Robert, I don't remember who it was. I can't remember who it is that filmed them, but they just were like, hey, I'm not doing it this year. It's just too much and I don't want to do it. And that's fair. You know what I mean? People are busy. I think the pandemic was a strain on a lot of people. Traveling in general is a strain on a lot of people, so I get it. Some of our favorite riders came from watching vlogs like Troll Train. Yeah, Mikkel, 100%. 100%, yeah. I relate more to the privateers. I agree, Kalen. And I think the difference is there, and I mean no offense to some of these privateers. I'm not going to name any of them because I don't want to bash any riders. But the privateers you care about are the guys that are going out of their way to make you care about them. There was a rider that I saw. I don't remember who they are. I wouldn't tell you because I don't want to do it, but I wish I could remember who it was so I can go and look them up. But there was a rider, a privateer that's like a fringe main event guy that posted up prior to A1, like a week before A1, and was like, I'm looking for sponsors for the season. Inquire within. And that was it. That was their entire attempt at getting sponsors. And it's like, yo, guys, come on. Like the Instagram post was like made on their phone. And look, I'm not saying that you have to be a professional, but man, whip out $50, find somebody on the internet that knows how to do graphic design and have them make you a pitch deck. That's what they're called in the media. Pitch deck is like, you know, an image or a slideshow or a portfolio to like pitch yourself of what your benefits are. But you have to make, what is the proposition? Why would I want to sponsor you? You know what I mean? Cade and A-Ray, no, and again, no offense to those guys, but like Cade and A-Ray got those jobs because they're like sport loves those guys. They love those guys. Those guys are so cool. They have the biggest personalities. And I'm not saying that they don't deserve those rides, but like SGB built a team. They wanted a team of guys that are literally personalities, and then everybody else can be just good riders. Thought Jordan Smith hat was cool. Turns out Froth is an Australian cleaning product company. I wish they would talk more about it, Joe. You know what I mean? Give me more information about it. I wouldn't know anything about Thurby or Noren without Troll. Yeah. And Mikkel, isn't it almost tragic that there are riders that are actually doing good work for other riders? Like Noren and Thurby are benefiting because of Troll. Like Troll is almost running an agency because of all the people that train with him, you know? It's so cool. If you can get a ride, you deserve a ride. There you go, Michael. There it is. So yeah, and like I said, it sucks. It sucks for the guys that, Ben LeMay comes to mind as a guy that was, very disgruntled on social media last year, the year before, because he was like, I come out, I'm national number 41, nobody will give me a ride. And like, nobody has ever given him a chance. And it just sucks. But when you look at these guys, you look at the Kevin Morans, the Henry Millers, in the 450 class, why would a factory team go out of your way? Because let's say, like, again, Kevin Morans is a really nice guy. I love his program. I love that he put boots to the ground. He figured out a way to fund his own program. That is so incredible. But if you are, let's say, Red Bull KTM, you're Beta, Triumph, whatever, and you're thinking, do I want Kevin Morans, who is an 18th place guy in a weak field, with the right equipment, maybe he could be Ryan Brees. You know what I mean? Like, maybe he could be Ryan Brees. Or do I want to take a shot on Nichols, J-Mart, Faulkner? There's always guys coming up. There's always guys ready to go. That those guys, yeah, they might only be a 14th place guy, but they could be an 8th place guy. They could be a 6th place guy. And I feel like if Kevin was here right now, Kevin would 100% tell you, there's no way in hell I'm ever going to be an 8th place guy. But he's making a living, having fun, doing what he does. And that's what's important, For Hurlings and Ferrandis hate each other in 2016. Yeah, I was going to say, Ferrandis kicked, I thought it was Hurling's bike, yeah. Oh, man, Goosey, that's one of my favorite clips ever, is Ferrandis just kicking him. Oh, always guys ready to go and never guys ready to leave. Yeah, Goosey, and it's a brutal sport, man. And I feel even worse for the 250 guys, because you look at the Jordan Baileys, Derek Drake, Mitchell Falks, really anybody that was on KTM and Husqvarna there for those few years. Oh, you're not a top 5 guy? Cut. Gone. Fry? Oh, you're not a top 10 guy? Cut. 1 year? Gone. Get out. I mean, hell, even Marchbanks won a race and they cut him. Oh, Sean Cantrell. That's a great one. Yeah, Attica, because I completely forgot about him. And that sucks, because these guys, and the problem is, because somebody brought up, Vic, it might have been you that said, these guys don't go to school a lot. Are we setting these guys up to fail because we pull them out of school? We homeschool them, which obviously dampens their social interaction. Like, whatever you want to look at it. If anything, the pandemic taught us that isolating kids at home is not great for their like social development. And then we send them out there at 18 years old and we give them 1 year, maybe 2. And if they are not literally race-winning material, they are cut, sent to the fryer. And like, now what are they supposed to do? Luckily, most of these kids have rich families in the first place. That's how they got to the point of being able to be a professional rider. But what are they supposed to do? What is Sean Cantrell supposed to do? When you're playing like, the board game Life, when it was like, oh, do you want to go to college or do you want to just go straight into the workforce? Like Supercross, like, oh, do you want to be a Supercross rider? Well, if it doesn't work out, like roll a die, and if it doesn't work out, then you're just gonna do construction for the rest of your life or whatever. Like these kids don't have options. It sucks so bad. Oh, Faulkner would be the man without the nonstop injuries. I agree, Joe. I agree. I just don't like him off the bike. And it's sometimes on the bike too. Obviously Varese didn't know he was there, but that was just a dumb mistake, I feel like. Do you agree, Joe? Like the heat race incident. Especially if you're recovering from a broken collarbone, maybe don't send it in on the final lap. Well, the final corner was the next to last corner. What does it matter? What does that matter? That was gonna what? It was gonna get him 2 better gate pick. That was just a stupid move in that instance that ruined both his and Varese's night, and that sucks so bad for him. I feel really bad. I really do. Faulkner, J. Martin, Cooper, if he can, will all stay. Yeah, I agree, but I don't know, man. The biggest problem, LS, is the longer you stay down there, you're just compounding your problem. Because if Faulkner, J. Martin, Cooper all stay down next year, in 1 more year, Jet moves up. They're not going to increase their stock, not to like blow Jet, but they're not going to increase their stock because I don't think that those guys, maybe Forkner, but the other guys, they're not probably going to beat Jet. Hunter has looked incredible this year, and if old man Christian Craig would have moved up when he was supposed to, we would have both Lawrences. God, could you imagine both Lawrences winning the titles? Oh, no, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you, media. But they're going to have to compete with him and Pierce Brown coming up. Like, there's always going to be more people coming up. So if you can get a 450 ride, take it. Take it. I know you might not get the factory ride you're looking for, but if those guys could follow the McElrath path of take a Moto Concepts and hope to move to a Rocky Mountain, and maybe then you could move to a factory. I don't know. And a torn labrum. Yeah, Alan, and a torn labrum. It was just a really dumb idea to make that pass there. He gained nothing from doing that. Goosey, I agree. Forkner needs to come out and be a podium guy. Like, at minimum, he needs to be consistently top 5, at minimum. But Fork is on the bike that builds champions. Well, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. McElrath was filling in for Bloss at the time. No, he was on a true ride for Moto Concepts. Because it was 3 riders. It was Bloss, McElrath, and Freezy because Brayton wasn't around that year. Shane, Max, and Joey. I hate to say it, Jason, but I don't think Shane. I don't think if I'm another team, I can't sign them unless you're SGB Honda. But they're not personalities, and those smaller teams need personalities to thrive. What team would sign them? Because no factory team's going with those 3. Max is incredible outdoor. I think he burned some bridges with HEP on his way out. Probably regrets doing that. I could see McElrath stepping down to HEP. If Bogle retires, I could see McElrath going there. He's not the personality that Bogle is, but I think that HEP would like to have a guy that's a whole shot threat week in and week out and could run up front for the first few laps. I think Anstey's good enough to keep a ride. I just don't know who would sign him. You know what? Anstey's the perfect guy to go to Beta or something. I think Anstey is the perfect kind of guy to go out there because he has no expectations and neither do they, but he's still a pretty popular guy worldwide. Speaking of popularity contests, have you guys all voted in the PulpMX poll? Please tell me that you guys have. The rider bracket, because that's mine. It's my baby. It's my project. So if you haven't, please go do it because I want the powers that be to see that people like that. So Forkner battles for 6 to 8 the whole season. I don't see him riding for Pro Circuit. Goosey, the other thing though is who do they have coming in to replace him? So right now Pro Circuit has 5 guys, right? Burgers and fries, because we have Shimoda, McAdoo, Forkner, Reynolds, and Hammaker. So Ryder D wants to move up this year, I imagine. Who would you replace to put in? Who would you replace to put in Ryder D? Or would you leave Ryder D down one more year? You know what? Why not go 6 bikes? Who cares? Rolls don't matter. Rules don't matter. Oh, man. Dogfight till the end, Jed and J-Mart are going to be a scrap. I hope so. I hope so, Motion. I really do. I really do. Do we see Forkner or Jet? Nah. Electrolytes, there's no reason to do that. Those guys both want to win the outdoor title. They're not going to get crazy, I feel like, here. Why is no one talking about Nick Romano going pro? I think because Star Racing Yamaha, we don't know how the chips are going to fall. If I'm being honest. As it stands right now, Christian's out. So obviously there's a spot there, but that's assuming Star wants to continue to run 6 250 bikes, and they might not want to. Because let's be honest, until we know what happens with Justin Cooper and Colt Nichols, if they have to move up or not, until we know, what that's going to be. I feel like nobody's really speculating with Star because we still have questions to answer before we can get to that one. Does that make sense? There needs to be a B tier gas team. Moto, AJE Motorsports is gas. Is riding the pro bike with AMA number plates on his story. Nice. So is he, maybe he'll debut this year? Is he gonna, what is his Loretta's like? Is he gonna want to do the thing where he maintains Loretta eligibility so he only does a few rounds? To be fair, Atiki, Craig is riding a 450 outdoor, so maybe he would then take Craig's 250. I don't know. We'll find out. Who knows? We'll find out. I know LeBlanc, Rider D, Hymus will race the end of outdoors after Loretta's. Yeah, exactly. And even then, like, do we want Hymus to move up? Maybe Hymus moves up for outdoors 2023 if Jet moves up outdoor 2023. It's about to be silly season, and I, for one, am looking forward to it. I wish that I had more contract information available, but they just don't. They just don't give you that. It's really unfortunate that the sport is so tight-lipped about it. I just don't understand why the sport is so tight-lipped about it. He's been in pro sport for 2 years now. Are there rules about moving up in Loretta's? Like, what is the rules there? I know the rule is if you go pro, but, like, other than that, is there rules? Why isn't Deegan doing... Probably because he's not going to go pro this year, Vic. He's just not ready. I don't think, and again, it goes back to that weird politicky thing of these teams. I don't think they want to put Deegan out there until they know Deegan's gonna actually go to Supercross. Do you know what I mean? I know that you're gaining reps out there riding like race conditions, but I don't think there's any sense in sending him out there unless you think he's gonna compete, you know? Didn't Kitchen ride Red Bud last year and then go back to Loretta's? Yeah, Atiki, I think you can ride 1 or 2 before Loretta's. Dude, I don't even know. They change those rules like every year, so I honestly don't even know. It's frustrating. It doesn't make any sense at all. Yeah, Pulp did it, and I know, Alan. Did you watch the separate thing? I edited down the clip of the conversation with the thumbnail of all of the doctors like poking around. Oh, man, I love Dean. Dean's such a good dude. Dean's Dean, as they say, right? But, hey, thank you guys for tuning in and watching with me. I got to go because I have to go do a car show tomorrow. It is my first, if you guys don't know my day job, I go do conventions, car conventions in person and have to run a booth there. So it's our first one tomorrow, so I really need to go do a little bit more prep work. But thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget, if you want, you have until Saturday night, next Saturday night, to sign up for Patreon. We're giving away one lucky Patreon member wins the side plate from Cade Clayson's career best 10th place finish in Detroit. I already have something for May, so we will announce that after the race, after Denver. I will be in Denver, it looks like. I have not yet confirmed my flight information type thing, but it looks like Denver's going to be a go. So if you guys are going to be at Denver, let me know. We can meet up down in the pit party or whatever if the weather's nice enough to be out in the pits. I kind of want to go to a Rockies game. Any baseball people? So I've never been to Coors Field, but I would like to go. So put that on the docket too. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching and stuff. Be good people. I'll see you guys next weekend from the pits. See you guys. Take care.